was fucking around with this dude, right? And he was kind of DL. So I could tell, he wasn't really about it, but he wanted it. He was struggling with it, and I was going to get it out of him. And so once I got it out of him.
Get what out of him? Oh.
My way, my style. It's the Archie effect. The Archie effect.
My way, my style. Denial is a river in Egypt. Your husband is gay. No, but in all seriousness, if you know where that's from, you know where that's from. But in all seriousness, denial is life's way of buffering. Like when your Wi-Fi box is stuck just loading and loading and loading, and you refuse to believe that it is not gonna work. But today we're hitting the refresh, and we're hitting the refresh with a brilliant actor, filmmaker, director, producer, writer. Did I get them all? I think I did. Today we are talking about bargaining, denial, and all the mental gymnastics we do to avoid the truth. James Bland is in the house.
Can I clap for myself?
You can clap for yourself.
Cool.
I think that's acceptable.
Nice. Okay, I did it.
Yeah. What's going on?
Yeah. I'm chilling. How are you?
I am blessed.
Yes.
Yeah. Before we get into it all, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you today?
Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say I am at an 8. Only because I got a little bit of anxiety going on.
Oh, no.
Which kind of fits the theme, anxiety, denial.
Yeah.
Is a river. I know that.
Yeah. Shout out to Dochi.
Shout out to Dochi. But yeah. But I'm good. I'm at an 8. At an 8.
Yeah. An 8. Okay. When was the last time you were at a 10?
Probably last weekend.
Oh, what were you doing?
Passing the torch.
Oh, right.
With you.
Yes. Passing the torch.
It was a good time.
Yes,
It was good to be seen and heard and honored.
Yeah. That was really cool. I want to set the tone, and I want to be really specific before we get into the meat of it all. The definition of denial is that natural, often temporary emotional response when a person struggles to accept the reality of a loss or a difficult situation, often manifesting as disbelief or a refusal to acknowledge the truth. Okay, I've been there. I was there last night. Okay, but but then also bargaining can go hand in hand with that, negotiating with oneself, right? It's like, oh, well, maybe if I did that, then this maybe happen. And what if X, Y, and Z and all those different things? And now I'm about to, be dragged because I feel like I do this often to myself. But especially it shows up with the grieving process. And all season, we're really kind of unpacking the 7 stages of grief. And no one necessarily died more so recently, but I had ideas for myself and they did. Jobs gone, relationships ended. So, all of these things are like a moment of processing, grieving that so you can move on. And that's really the crux of the theme for this season. But I want to know more about you.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's up? Where would you like to start?
No. I mean, have you ever caught yourself though in this bargaining stage? And if so, like when was that last moment?
Oh, absolutely. I'm constantly there all the time. If I had to pinpoint the last moment, it's definitely work related.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, just projects coming and going. We're in Hollywood. We just went through a really long strike. Nobody knows what the business is doing. But if I had to get even more specific, I had a project that I've been working on for about 7 years. It was deeply personal. It was going to be like that thing that was going to get me to the thing, and it got really far. And it did not go the distance. And I think the bargaining with myself was more so the wondering what I could do different, and then probably telling myself, well, I'm going to do this next time, or I'm going to show up this way next time, as if any of those things would have changed the outcome. You know what I mean?
Yeah. In those times, like when you're thinking and going through this process, are you leaning on anybody at all?
Yeah, for sure. Friends, my partner. I like to talk. Archie, it's one of those things. My partner's always like, "You're always talking." So I'm constantly on the phone with somebody, talking through my feelings. I'm a Scorpio, so I'm super emotional. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, we got a Scorpio.
We got a Scorpio in the house. Let's
go. I don't know too much about a lot of other astrological signs, but I always point it on somebody that I've experienced as a Scorpio. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, but what's your sign?
I'm an Aries.
Aries, okay. I have some Aries in my life.
Yeah.
You guys are cool people.
Yeah.
A little controlling, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Your top 2 favorite like attributes about yourself because you're a Scorpio.
I would say passion, adventure.
Passionate adventure.
Yeah.
Wow. When was the last adventure you went on?
Ooh. The last adventure I would say, Brazil. Yeah, I went to Brazil for my birthday in November, last year. Solo trip. Did Bahia. I did Sao Paulo. Did Afropunk, did Everyday People. I was a little bit all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you go to circuit parties?
Of course.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You like them?
I love them.
Okay.
You know why I love them?
Why?
Okay, so I love circus because it's one of the very few times I'm completely free. I allow myself to let go, sometimes with a little assistance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I feel as if I am completely in my body when I'm at a circuit and I'm not in my head. And I live in my head so much.
Wow. Yeah. I live in my head a lot too. Actually, we're going on a tangent already. I have I don't know, a friend who enjoys circuits, right? And they had mentioned like, oh, you should come with me. And I just don't think I'm that free.
Have you ever been?
I have went to look.
Okay. Wait, so you looked, but you didn't partake?
No, I did. I'm a researcher.
You were in the
I
building.
needed to know what was going on. And I
Yeah.
said, okay, got it.
So you stayed for like 15 minutes and left?
Literally.
Did you have anxiety about what was it that
It's
didn't
just,
allow you to stay? And
because a
enjoy
lot of
yourself?
people be, shirtless and all the things.
Okay.
I be going through body dysmorphia.
I feel that. I feel that. Yeah.
And also, I don't be wanting the uns all the time.
I hear that. Were you on any assistance?
I had, I think, an edible.
Okay, you gotta do more than an edible.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
champagne?
No.
Oh,
You need to do something that starts with the M or E.
okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'm a bargain on that one.
Okay, yeah, bargain.
Yeah,
Think about
okay,
it.
Okay.
Let's make a deal that we'll go to one together.
Let me think
Think
about
about
it. That is funny. But okay, wait. So has there been moments where you knew something was true but weren't ready to accept it? I feel like that denial and bargaining kind of go hand in hand with that ideology.
Oh, absolutely. For sure. A specific instance of that time?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna go to, because the first thing that I thought about with this episode title in terms of denial and even the stages of grief is coming out.
Oh,
Have you ever heard that like the stages of coming out are similar to the stages of grief?
vaguely.
Okay. So the project that I was talking about that I was working on, it was called Trade, right? And the seasons of that show were gonna resemble the stages of coming out, which are also very similar to the stages of grief. And a big part of it is the denial part. And I think even for myself personally, I knew I was gay. Like I knew I liked boys, but I was also raised in the church. I was from the South, and I didn't really have any examples around me that I could point to say, oh, okay, you could be masculine presenting, you could play sports, you could be all of these things and still be queer. And so I denied it for a really long time to myself and to other people, even though deep down I knew what my truth was.
Yeah. How long did that process last for you?
I would say adolescence, college. I moved to LA. I like to say LA set me free to find myself.
And what year was that? So I'm
Oh,
imagining
yeah.
you experienced LA before the COVID of it all.
for
It's not the
sure.
same.
2008.
Oh,
old
you were
bitch.
out here. You were out here having a good time. Yeah.
Early days. So I would say I came out at 30. But
Damn, how old are you?
I'm 39.
Okay.
Yeah, but I would say around 25, 27, I started to really own and accept, even though I wasn't necessarily living out loud or living my truth. I was like, yeah, I like niggas.
Well, yes.
It is what it is.
Well, yes. Okay. I got it. And I know a lot of people, when you speak about coming out, because I want to hold space for that, it was on your terms and you communicated to family, which matters to you, I'm imagining.
Yes. So I promised myself that I would come out by 30.
Yeah.
It was a decision that I had made. It was how I wanted to kind of go into this new decade of my life. Started with my parents, told them over the phone, I cried halfway through it, but you know, I couldn't bring myself to actually say the words "I'm gay." It was more so, you know, I'm not really attracted to women that much. There, because my dad was always on my case about a daughter-in-law, about getting married, about settling down, and so I was like, Dad, there may not ever be, you know, a daughter-in-law. There might be kids. I don't know. I can't make no promises, but I could tell you I'm not bringing no girl home.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So after that, it was, all right, once mom and dad knew, I felt I was free to kind of tell everyone else in my life, which were my line brothers, because I'm in a fraternity, and then some other like close friends. Although most of my friends, if you were close to me, you knew already.
What did y'all say? What's y'all sound?
Oh, we don't really have a sound.
Oh, okay.
We just say 11119.
Oh, okay.
06.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
ain't never heard that one.
You ain't heard that one?
No, I've heard of the ski
Wait.
beat of it all.
Oh, that's those are the sororities. So ski wee are AKAs.
Yes, okay.
Deltas are the oop.
So what the dude do with the shoulders?
Oh, those are the Kappas.
And they don't have no
They say like
saying
yo
either?
yo 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 yo, something like that.
Oh, the men don't have no fun saying.
Nah, we don't. Yeah.
Oh. I think
We have sayings. We just don't have sounds.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, actually, hold on. The Omegas have sounds, but nah, it's more of a bark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They get crazy.
They do.
Shout
out to the Omegas. So my man is an Omega. So.
So y'all found y'all's way to each other.
We did Alpha and Omega.
Yeah.
Beginning and end.
There you go.
There it is.
Huh. In your creative work specifically, how do you navigate telling stories that involve all the emotion that I'm sure you've experienced, but then also trying to wrap in other characters, and then also throwing in grief in ways that resonate with people?
Yeah, I always start with what I know. That's kind of the golden idea or principle with writing, is start with what you know, because then it's honest, it's true, you have something to ground it in, and then I allow my imagination to take over. So when I'm talking about grief, it is always pulling from something that I can relate to, a feeling, an emotion, or an experience. And then I start to bring in empathy. And even if I haven't gone through a very specific experience, I can at least think about what it might feel like. It's very similar, to acting.
Yeah.
When you're taking on a character, the character might be in a situation that you haven't necessarily been in, but you can relate or you can compare it to something that feels comparable, like a comparable emotion. Like, okay, for example, I don't have any kids, but let's say like my nieces or nephews, and the way that I love them, I can try to associate that feeling and that love for how it may feel, to have a child. And so it's really about imagination and empathy.
I was you're speaking about children. I was actually at church on Sunday, and
What church?
I went to Oasis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And they were talking about children, specifically about, how you show up and like how you love and affirm a child is like, that's that you're able to kind of share that same love that like God has for us.
Yeah.
Because, we are his children. You mentioned your man though.
Can you double tap that?
Huh?
Yeah, because that for me is, okay, do you watch Drag Race?
You know what? My good friend Charles has got me watching that this year for the first time.
So this season is your
AJ watches it.
Your very first season. Okay, AJ. So there's a part, a segment in every season where the queens have to speak to their younger selves, and I feel as if, and I cry every time that segment comes up. And for me, I feel like so much of my work as a grown-up and as a human being is really parenting my inner child and trying to speak to that part of me, because realizing that little boy didn't necessarily feel or receive the love that he wanted. So I feel like most of the times when you're talking to somebody, you're either talking to their child version of themselves or their like adult version of themselves.
Yeah. That's so wild that you say that, because this morning I woke up and there's been a lot of just things going on, and I'm busy just as much as you're busy, right?
Yeah.
Busy is subjective. And, to even show up today to do all of this, but then there's also so much like chatter, right? Around like friend groups and people that aren't friends. And so, but I had to wake up today. Literally, like it was like a movie. It was like Issa Rae, but much more emotional.
Yeah.
And it was like, I am proud of you, You work so much
Yeah.
to get to this day,
Mhm.
and this day will come and this day will go,
Mhm.
but you are doing it. And it's like moments like that matter so much.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And knowing that that little boy would be proud of this man.
He would.
Yeah.
He would. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What age do you go to when you think about yourself? Like, because I have an age.
I don't know if I have an age. I have a vision. I can see him.
Okay.
I was probably around 7.
I say 7 too.
You say 7? Okay. How do you know it was 7 specifically?
I think it was actually some type of mindful book that said, picture yourself at 7. Because I also feel like as the preteen of the 12 and the 13 are very pivotal, I think 7 is too. Because, 1 to 6, it's like, mommy, daddy, like, but then 7, you start to have a clear vision of like, oh, this is life.
Yeah.
I don't know how to find a job. I don't know what making money looks like, but I know that it costs. It's a thing.
And also 7 is completion. In the world of numerology, there's something very specific about the number 7 that is definitive, in a way. And I feel like the age 7 kind of represents, it's like, how they talk about when you're a kid, there's certain like years where you're being wired, and it's really hard to undo that. And I feel like 7 is kind of that mark where you're kind of, all right, you're stamped, you're wired. This is who you are as a result of the experiences that you've had leading up to that point.
And honestly, for me, it's like if you're a kid who remembers trauma, I feel like it kind of starts at 7 because I don't remember anything at 3.
Yeah.
That's
true.
But that's just me.
That's a fact. Yeah.
That's just me.
That's when kids get kind of mean too. And the bullying probably starts in a way around 7, because like 6 you're still in like kindergarten, and I think 7 you're going to like first, second grade, somewhere around there.
Yeah, kids were mean to me in kindergarten.
Yeah.
Anyways,
bastards.
Look where they are. I don't know. I don't know.
They're not
I
here.
I wish them the best.
They don't have a show.
They don't. I want to go back to a question because you mentioned your man and we're talking about bargaining. What does bargaining in a relationship look like?
Oh my God. I mean, it's compromise. It's realizing that I can't necessarily judge you or expect you to see things the way I see it. But recognizing that we are two different people, we see things in different ways. And so although I think I am right in this situation, I'm going to also allow you to...
You're always right?
I'm definitely not always right. But I feel right in a lot of situations I find myself in the relationship. And so I think the bargaining is, okay, I'm gonna let this go, or I'm gonna allow you to have this, or I'm gonna allow you to either lead, or I'm gonna allow your perspective or your POV to take center stage, and I'm gonna accept that as truth, even though I might think a little differently. I might have a difference of opinion. And then I think it's a lot of just back and forth in terms of, like, for example, I'm somewhat of a neat freak, right? My guy is not, and so the bargaining comes of, what is most important? Should I make a big deal out of this? Should I make a big deal out of the mess on the floor or how disorganized the closet is? You know what? I'm not. I'm going to bargain with myself, and I'm going to decide to save my grievance for something that is much bigger. So
pick and choose your battles.
Pick and choose your battles.
You said we listen and we don't judge.
We listen, we do not judge. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit, yeah. I mean,
depends on what it is.
Have you ever cheated?
No. I have not.
Ever.
Oh, ever. You trying to get me caught up? Black men don't cheat.
What?
You don't listen to Charlamagne the God, Breakfast Club?
I do personally love Charlamagne, but
Okay, ever. Okay, so this is my first relationship. So I'm gonna say no. No.
Wait, so
I take it back. I take it back.
Okay,
I
no.
take it
So the
back.
answer's no.
Because I dated women prior to being in this relationship.
Okay, so you cheated
and
on a woman.
I cheated on them with men. Yes, I've cheated.
Now, what was that like?
Messy.
Did they find out?
They did.
And how? What? Oh my gosh.
Oh,
I'm sure they were like throwing things.
No. Okay, so my first situation, I was in college. I was dating this young lady. She was actually way more understanding than I thought she was going to be.
Nice.
I was experimenting, and I didn't really have the space or was given permission to really experiment. We're in college.
Right.
I'm in a relationship. Yeah, you're my girlfriend, but I'm also trying to see what, this other feeling that I got going on inside of me is really about. And so I started messing around with a guy. And he ended up confiding in his best friend, who ended up being like connected to my girlfriend in a way, and I didn't know, and she didn't know how to tell her, so she confided in one of her friends, and the friend that she confided in told the guy that she was dating.
It's a telephone.
It was a whole telephone situation. And then he told his best friend, who was one of my neos, and the neo was dating my best friend since middle school. He told her, and she called me like, James, what is going on? Such and such told such and such, so such and such that you are gay, and that you're dating this guy. And I was like, well, I'm not dating him. We fool around, but we're not in a relationship. And but she was actually way more understanding than I thought she was going to be. She gave me a lot of grace.
What is the most affirming thing that you have learned dating another man?
I think love is, particularly like romantic love, it's kind of like boundless. There's no bounds. Like, it doesn't have to fit into a box. And I guess with that, in a way, it showed and taught me that I'm enough, that I'm worthy, of love. And I think prior to that, being queer and being told that being gay was wrong or a sin or an abomination, it made me feel like I wasn't enough, like I'm not worthy of love, because the person that I want to love and to be loved back, I'm being told that that's not allowed. Right. It's not accepted. Right. And so being able to be in a gay relationship showed me that I am worthy of that, and I'm enough. Yeah.
You are enough.
I am.
You are enough. I do want to go back, because you said that this was your first relationship.
Yeah.
When did it start? Because I'm gaining perspective for myself.
Let me say first long-term relationship.
Oh, okay. Long-term.
Let me add some more.
Okay, long-term. Okay.
Long-term, yeah. Because I would date. I've had boyfriends, but they were short-lived.
Like 4 months?
4 to 6. Okay. Like 6 was the longest.
Yeah, I'm like 2 to 4.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you know what I mean.
Never been in a relationship, so.
Yeah,
it doesn't count.
But those are relationships,
They
though.
are. It's learning.
Yeah.
You're like, once a quarter, I'm learning something.
I don't want to take away, because you don't want to take away from those people or those experiences, because they taught you things, and it was beautiful for what it was. But in terms of like really settling into somebody, and waking up and choosing them when it gets hard, when it gets difficult, or continuing to choose them when the honeymoon phase goes away, or we're no longer showing up as the best version of ourselves. Do you still choose me?
Nobody has so far, but
are you choosing them back?
I choose me.
Why?
Because I matter.
You do matter.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I guess, okay, I'm not going to be the host.
What? Go ahead. What you got to say?
Hey friend, I hope you're enjoying this episode, but I want you to discover a workplace where connection and creativity thrive. Soho Works is a global community for entrepreneurs, creators, and innovators who value collaboration as much as productivity. With beautifully designed spaces, intentional amenities, and access to an inspiring network of like-minded individuals. Soho Works is your home for ideas and growth, created for Soho House members and those who share our vision. This is where work meets community. Join us and elevate the way you work. Learn more at sohohouse.com.
Specifically, though, with denial, right? In this denial stage, what does self-talk look like to you?
I think self-talk is really giving myself pep talks, because
so it's positive.
It's positive.
Okay.
Well, okay, so I think my internal monologue sometimes can be pessimistic, and naturally anxiety rises in me. And if I allow it to go unchecked or unspoken to, it will typically be negative. Or it'll be just kind of fueled by anxiety. And so I have to physically give myself pep talks, verbally. Like, I'll be in the car like, all right, James, so, and I'll have to speak against the things that are giving me anxiety or telling me that I'm not enough, or it's not going to work out, or I'm overwhelmed, or or that it won't happen. Because it's kind of like, even with that denial, as far as accepting the reality, as far as, okay, this didn't work out. But I think sometimes with accepting it won't work out, we start, or at least me, I start to tell myself that it never will work out.
Right.
And that's a lie.
Yeah, it's a lie.
You know, so sometimes there is also a lie attached to the truth.
Do you clock the lies? I'm trying to be better at that these
Yeah,
days.
I do.
Okay. Yeah. Good.
It takes me time. Like I have to sit with it and I have to recognize that it's a lie.
Yeah.
And then I have to actively speak against it. I have to speak truth to the lie.
Yeah. Do you speak in tongue?
No.
Okay.
I've tried.
Yeah.
So I got a homie, right, who goes in.
Yeah.
His name is Will Catlett. He's an actor.
Shout out to him.
And I told Will that I had never spoken tongues before. He was like, you just got to try. And so literally he had me on the phone. Bro, literally trying to speak in tongues. He was like, you just got to start making sounds, like just, but with intention. And I gave it a shot, but it doesn't naturally come to me or out of me.
Yeah. I surprise
Do you?
myself sometimes. I do.
Word.
No, like I will.
What is that experience like?
You know, I started to like pray for clarity around like what I'm saying, and so now I know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But like I remember I was like 12 when it started happening, and I was like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so there was also just not any type of shame, but just like a glimmer of shame because I was like, my aunt do this. Am I old? But yeah, no, I love it. I'm obsessed. Yeah,
Do you
it's very
even
direct
in your personal prayer life? Does it come out?
Yes.
Okay.
It comes out a lot by myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think it's something that someone can like learn or acquire, or is it? Do you think? Well, I guess it's not a learned thing. It's either.
Yeah, I think you can pray for a spiritual gift.
Okay.
But that's between you.
Right, and God.
Yeah.
You know, I'm glad you put it that way because it is a gift.
Yeah.
And we all have different gifts.
We do.
Right.
We do. There's an element in hope. There's an element of hope in bargaining, though. Like you wouldn't negotiate if you didn't believe in the possibility of a different outcome. And I think that is really important to hold space for. How do you balance hope with acceptance?
I mean, hope is always present. You can accept that something is true and still hope for something different. It's like the saying that what you believe is greater than what you hope or dream, right? So you can hope for a thing, but you gotta like really believe it. You gotta figure out how to get it in your spirit. It's like my mom used to tell me, we have was it 3 different consciousness? You have what you think, you have what you feel, and you have what you intuitively know, like that thing in like the depths of your being, right? And so, right, in there, it's probably in that same place that allows you to like speak in a heavenly language. It's like because you believe without a shadow of a doubt. It's almost like, I remember when I was young, maybe when I was 7, I used to ask my mom, how do you know God is real? And she used to say, you just know that you know that you know. And that made no sense to me. Like absolutely no sense to a 7-year-old. And she would say, just keep living. And now at almost 40, I can understand what you just know that you know that you know, because it's coming from a different consciousness. It's not because I've seen him. It's not just because I felt him, but because I can literally, I just know in my being, in my existence. Yeah. I also told my parents that's the same, in that same place is where I know that I'm gay. It's not just a feeling. It's not just in my loins.
That's deep.
It's in that knowing place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a delusional person?
I want to be. That is actually one of my goals of 2025. I would love the delusion of a drag queen. I've been praying for that because I am not delusional. I am the opposite of delusion. Yes. I am. What's the opposite? What is the opposite of that?
Ooh, what's your fantasy?
Ooh, I would love to be a superhero in a film. Yeah.
What's your superpower?
Definitely, I could fly.
I've always wanted to fly.
I definitely want to fly. Like in particular after seeing Wicked, baby.
Yes.
I want to be. Yeah, I think that's all I got is flying.
Okay. Yeah. Sometimes bargaining also involves making these promises, whether to ourselves, to others, to God, right? Yeah. What role do you think? Because I know that we've talked about, the Spirit and God is very powerful. You're very convicted by it. But what role do you think that plays when it comes to grieving?
In terms of like the role of connection to God, or role of spirituality, in grief. That's a really good question.
Especially when you're like, oh, in the denial era of it all.
I think, let me lean into this because I felt this one. For me, I think it's a little bit of, do I still really believe, do I believe you are who you say you are? Or do I believe the things that you promised me? Because typically when we're grieving a thing, it's because of a loss.
Yeah.
And it's a shock or something that we thought we would have, that we would possess, or someone that we thought would be here. Like, for example, my close friend just lost his partner of 9 years in a tragic car accident.
Wow.
And I've been in situations where I've lost people close to me, and it really will always shake my faith every single time because it's those questions of God, why? Like, I don't understand, like, why? So I think also that is a part of the grief and a part of the denial of it, because we've been taught that he was going to cover us, that his plans are to prosper us. And all of those things can be true, but also there will be storms, there will be hard times, and there will be rejection. They come hand in hand. But in that denial and in that low moment, it is kind of like really, bruh? You know, like, is he really who he says he is, or all the things that we've been told, are they true?
Yeah.
You know? And in a way, you know, faith can be shaken in those moments.
I was just reading something that kind of spoke about this a lot, not a lot, but like it touched on, you know, when bad things happen and then we start questioning, but also the opposer is also very real, and those things can happen. So it's like we just forget that part. But then also sometimes, you know, things are a part of the process. There's an evolution. But we're really attached to like these earthly things. And so, you know, sometimes it's hard for us and we start, you know, just at everything and everybody. Yeah.
It's tough.
Okay, so I have an uncomfortable question of the day for you.
Ooh, hold on, let me get a sip.
Yeah. Do you want to get a sip first? What was the wildest thing you recall during a one-night stand?
Oh, okay. So check me. Was fucking around with this dude, right? And he was kind of DL. So I could tell, you know, he wasn't really about it, but he wanted it. He was struggling with it, and I was going to get it out of him. And so once I got it out of him.
Get what out of him?
Once I got it out of him, he left me there like covered in semen. What? Yeah. And I was like, you know, all right, I'm at his crib, and so he needs to go get the towel. But he left me there on the couch, and I'm waiting on the towel. And so finally, I was like, bro, can I get a towel? He was like, oh, yeah, my bad. He goes into the kitchen. He grabs a roll of paper towels.
Chucks it at you?
Like Donald Trump in Puerto Rico. Wild. But, okay, you asked me one night stand. I went back after that. So
I think that it
wasn't a one night. It was maybe like three nights.
Oh, y'all did that back to back.
We did it again.
Oh, so you keep in contact?
No. He eventually blocked me.
So you did something wrong.
I think he might be married now, so I get it. Yeah, I'm not upset.
The DL of it all. Got it.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah. Well,
I wrote about that in Trade.
Stream Trade today.
I wish.
Yeah. Oh, right. You talked about
it's a show that didn't get made. Yeah.
Can you shop it around? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
In a different climate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Open relationships?
Can I ask you?
No.
I'm curious about your one night stands.
Oh, I don't have them.
Lies.
No, I've had like one, but like
one, Archie?
Yeah, no, for most of my life I've been a germaphobe. I've had body dysmorphia. I just be over here minding my business.
Ooh.
But like,
I'm gonna break you out of your shell.
I am not that DL man you were talking about.
Remember, I told you I'm a Scorpio.
Focus on you and yours.
I got superpowers.
As soon as this
one of my
wraps,
superpowers
you gotta go.
is helping people tap into their sexual revolution.
Really?
Yeah, I'm currently in mine. It's beautiful.
Revolution,
yeah. It's a beautiful thing.
What stage in the revolution are you in?
In particular as church boys, because we grew up so repressed and so afraid. And, you know, I just woke up one day and was like, I mean, is this really serving me?
Right. Yeah, but also sexual activity often to me just feels, why?
But it's because we've been wired to kind of think and look at it that way.
I'm like, I could have just got ice cream.
You need to do ayahuasca. Yeah, get released. Loose yourself.
Where is that at? In Tijuana?
You can do it in Peru and Brazil.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, you were about to ask open relationship.
Yeah, do you like
I think
those?
I love them.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You know why? Because I
You
think
really are
so,
an evolution, revolution.
I am. I think so many of us have antiquated ideas about love, relationships, and they're all rooted in what tradition
Sure.
or what's the P word? Patriarchy.
Patriarchy.
And why? No one ever really takes the time to really sit and question why do we do certain things. The thing that I love about open relationships for those who choose to partake is it's people deciding that you can live life on your own terms, that you don't necessarily have to fit the way you do life into a box. And relationships are a two-way contract between two people. Yes. And so whatever you and this other person decide, how you want to structure this contract,
y'all go off.
it's between y'all. Like, go off, have fun, and send me a video.
Oh, send you a video? You want to see it too?
Absolutely. AJ, what's up? Yeah.
Open relationships? No.
Well,
yes?
I was talking about the
open
video.
Relationship? No. All right.
I was talking about the video. Yeah. No, but it's also based on I don't judge. Like, whatever anybody
you
decides
listen and
to
you
do.
don't judge.
I listen and I don't judge.
Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Well, if somebody listening right now is in the thick of this whole bargaining stage, trying to negotiate their way out of pain, being suppressed, whatever it is, what's the one thing that you would tell them to help them move forward?
You know, I think acceptance is what the final stage. And so the closer you can get to acceptance in any space or form in life, I think the happier you'll be. So you just got to really figure out what you need to get closer to acceptance. Like, what does that look like for you? Who do you need to talk to? What does that feel like? Maybe even practice visualization, like visualize yourself in acceptance. Okay, quick story. Can I go on a tangent? Because my favorite movie is The Color Purple, right?
The new one or the old one?
The old one.
Okay.
And Oprah Winfrey tells a story about how she was obsessed with The Color Purple.
Yes, I know the story.
You know the story,
I'm
so
obsessed with Oprah.
You know where I'm going with it.
Yeah.
And she was at a fat camp. She
Yeah.
thought she didn't get
Yeah.
the role.
Got the
She
call.
had her Alfie Woodard had got the
Yes.
role. But before she got the call, she had got to acceptance.
Yes.
She accepted that maybe it was not hers, and she could see
And surrendering.
And surrender.
She uses that word.
Ah, so that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's surrender.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the advice. You got to surrender.
Yeah.
Boom. Look at that.
And what did he tell her on the phone?
Don't eat.
Don't
Don't lose
another
another pound.
Oh, Oprah.
Yes.
Well, it is time to play a game. You want to have a little bit of fun?
Let's do it.
Okay, so it's called Perfect Pitch.
Okay.
Okay, so
It does not involve singing, right? Because
No.
I can't.
No.
Okay, cool.
You can't sing?
No.
All right. Well, if you could collaborate with anyone on a project, what would it be? Who would it be? What would the project be? And I'm going to give you 30 seconds. And you're going to turn to your camera. And you're going to give the pitch. Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you ready?
Okay.
Go.
So Barry Jenkins, listen, I have a film. It's called Making of Men, and it is about a young man, a black man's first year of college at a HBCU, and he's working to pledge a fraternity. But here's the thing. He's also discovering his sexuality and his identity, and we both know that fraternity and gay does not mix, in particular at black schools. And so it's a huge conflict. He's trying to figure out, what is he going to do? Is he going to allow this fraternity to mold him into the man that they want him to be? Or is he going to choose what kind of man he wants to be? Make it of men. Call me. I would love for you to produce it. I'm going to direct it, though.
Oh, I can't wait to watch. I love that.
Let's go.
Yeah. Cast me in it. Give me something to do.
Yeah.
Give me something
Come
to
on,
do.
let's do it.
Oh, that is great. What mantra or affirmation kept you grounded during tough times?
Let me try not to go to a churchy one. You can't keep a good bitch down.
That's how they said it?
Yeah.
I heard you can't keep a good woman down. You can't keep a good man down.
Can't keep a good bitch down.
You can't keep a good bitch down.
Yeah. I was going to go to This Too Shall Pass.
But you chose the latter.
Then
All right.
You know what? There's another.
Okay.
There's something else in my spirit.
And what is your assignment here on this planet?
To be a light. My favorite scripture is, we are the light of the world. a city set upon a hill cannot be hidden. Of course, it ties into this whole sexuality thing and me wanting to hide for so long in my life. And then also being 6'6" and not being comfortable in my skin for a long time. I wanted to not stand out. I just wanted to be a wallflower and blend in. But I was called to be a light. A light set up on a hill cannot be hidden. And so,
Yes, you
know?
are like, but can we talk about the 6'6" of it all?
let's do it.
Ooh, really quick.
Okay.
Growing up, I'm only like 6'2.5",
Okay.
but everybody's like,
With a heel or without a heel?
mind your business. No, everybody was like, was it like kind of annoying? They're like, play basketball, play basketball, play basketball. Did you play basketball?
I did.
Okay.
You know, it does not help that I look like LeBron James.
A little bit.
I do, you know. I did, and I felt like that's what I had to do. I felt like all of my worth was tied into basketball and my height, and if I didn't play that, what was it for?
Yeah.
Like, why the hell? Like, what you gonna do with all that?
Yeah.
You know, it was a waste of like height, and but I'm finding other uses.
Like what?
That's a good question because
What other uses?
honestly,
I
I would
guess-
like to be like sick. You know what? I
You
guess
want to be taller?
I want to be shorter.
Oh, really?
be short.
Still to this day at 40?
Yeah, only because it's hard to find clothes and also airplanes
Yeah.
and then also acting as well. It's kind of hard because like framing. I sometimes feel like maybe I've lost opportunities because I'm so tall. But
On the bright side, at the circuit party, you can see over everybody.
I can see over everybody. And at concerts, but then I always feel bad because there's always a 5'2" girl
I used to as well.
standing behind me.
I don't. God made me this way.
You know, you should have. Your fault.
Thank you for being here and trusting me with your story.
Thank you for having me.
This was fun.
This was a good time.